Los Angeles, 1981. The air in the surgical grand rounds conference room at the UCLA Medical Center is thick with the scent of institutional authority. A sterile blend of floor polish, old coffee, and the faint starch smell of white coats. It's a room built for pronouncements, not propositions. The wood-paneled walls seem to absorb sound, creating a pressurized quiet that magnifies every shuffle of paper, every skeptical cough. Here, Dr. Patricia Bath, the first black female ophthalmologist on staff, stands before a tribunal of her peers. She isn't just a surgeon. She is an anomaly in this sea of established, overwhelmingly white, male faces. Her presence itself is a quiet challenge to the room's unwritten rules. On the projector screen behind her, an image glows. Not a grainy photo of a diseased retina, but a clean, elegant diagram of something entirely new. It's a concept born from a profound insight she'd had years earlier as an intern, that in many underserved communities, blindness wasn't an inevitability, but a curable condition, if only the right tool existed. She speaks with the measured precision of a scientist and the quiet passion of a humanitarian. Her proposal is audacious, a leap of imagination that connects two disparate worlds, the industrial power of laser technology and the delicate microcosm of the human eye. She describes a device, a probe no thicker than a needle, that could harness a beam of light to painlessly and precisely obliterate a cataract, the cloudy obstruction that steals sight from millions. She explains the physics of photoablation, the process by which a laser could vaporize the hardened lens protein without damaging the surrounding capsular bag. This wasn't just an improvement on the current, almost brutal methods of cataract removal, which involved a large incision, manual extraction of the lens, and a long, painful recovery. This was a complete paradigm shift. Her detailed schematics fill the screen, a testament to years of late-night study and relentless calculation. They show irrigation and aspiration ports working in concert with the laser, a self-contained microsurgical system designed for unparalleled elegance and efficacy. She is, in essence, offering them the future of ophthalmology. The response is not a wave of excited questions or professional curiosity. It is a wall of silence, followed by a ripple of condescending murmurs. The senior surgeons, men who have built their careers on the mastery of the existing imperfect techniques, look at her as if she is a novice peddling fantasy. One influential department head leans back, a dismissive smile playing on his lips. A laser, doctor? In the eye? You'll cook the cornea. Another chimes in, his tone dripping with paternalistic scorn. This is the stuff of science fiction novels, not a serious surgical proposal. Let's stick to what we know works. The subtext is deafeningly clear. A black woman, no matter how brilliant, was not to presume to revolutionize their field. Her idea is brushed aside, not on its scientific merits, but on the basis of her identity. The meeting adjourns. The men file out, patting each other on the back, their world comfortably undisturbed. Dr. Bath is left standing alone in the cavernous room, the light from the projector casting a lonely glow on her intricate diagrams. The dismissal is a deep, professional wound, a confirmation of the invisible barrier she has faced her entire career. But the insult soon curdles into something more sinister. Weeks later, sorting through interdepartmental mail, she finds a misdirected manila envelope. Inside is an internal research memo, its subject line cold and bureaucratic. As she reads, a chill runs down her spine. The language is sanitized, cloaked in academic jargon, but the core concept is unmistakably hers. It talks of photoablative lenticular emulsification, of miniaturized aspiration and irrigation, of the potential for a minimally invasive procedure. Key sections of the memo, including the names of the committee members, are redacted with thick black ink, a deliberate act of concealment. They hadn't just dismissed her idea, they were dissecting it in secret, scrubbing her name from its genesis. The scoffing in the conference room wasn't just arrogance, it was a smokescreen. They had seen the future she presented, and they were already planning how to claim it for themselves. Was this groundbreaking vision a gift meant to restore sight to the world, doomed to be stolen and rebranded by the very system that refuses to acknowledge its creator? Following that blatant dismissal and the chilling discovery of the redacted memo, Dr. Bath understood the brutal reality of her situation. The institutional path at UCLA wasn't just unsupportive, it was predatory. To pursue her invention within those walls would be to hand it over, piece by piece, to the very men who had publicly mocked it. So she made a pivotal decision. She would go it alone. This marked the beginning of a grueling, isolating, and financially draining period of her life. While her colleagues enjoyed the full backing of a world-class research university, its labs, its funding, its technicians, Dr. Bath was forced to become a renegade inventor. Her work didn't stop when she clocked out of the hospital. It was just beginning. Her home became her laboratory. Her own savings became her research grants. The nights were filled not with rest, but with relentless tinkering, poring over physics journals, and sketching modifications to her design on a drafting board in her study. The scientific challenge was immense. She needed to perfect a device that was both powerful and exquisitely gentle. The Laserphaco Probe, as she named it, was a marvel of microengineering. She had to devise a system where a fiber optic strand could deliver a precise laser pulse to break down the cataract. Simultaneously, she designed a concentric sleeve around the laser. This sleeve had two functions: an irrigation system to flush the eye with a sterile saline solution, keeping it cool and stable, and an aspiration system to gently suction out the emulsified lens fragments. The entire apparatus had to fit through an incision barely a millimeter wide. This was the genius of her design. It transformed a highly invasive surgery into a delicate outpatient procedure. While her peers were still making large cuts into the eye with scalpels, she was envisioning a future where sight could be restored with the precision of a beam of light. Each component required painstaking research and development, a process she undertook with almost no external support, fueled by an unshakable belief in her vision. After 5 years of this relentless solo effort, she had a working prototype and a meticulously documented methodology. She navigated the labyrinthine, intimidating process of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, another system historically dominated by men. On May 17, 1988, her perseverance was vindicated. She was awarded U.S. Patent number 4744-360 for the Laserphaco Probe. This document was more than just a legal protection for her intellectual property. It was a historic landmark. With it, Dr. Patricia Bath became the first African-American female doctor in history to receive a medical patent. It was a monumental achievement, a testament to her brilliance and tenacity. Armed with this undeniable proof of ownership and innovation, one might assume the doors of the medical establishment would finally swing open. They did not. They remained stubbornly, infuriatingly shut. Her personal journals from this period, archived at the National Library of Medicine, are a painful chronicle of systemic obstruction. She submitted formal requests for operating room access to conduct clinical trials and was met with a cascade of bureaucratic excuses. The hospital's liability insurance doesn't cover this type of experimental device, one administrator wrote. We require more extensive peer-reviewed data before approving human trials, a review board insisted. A perfect catch-22, as they were actively preventing her from gathering that very data. They cited unproven methodology and a lack of long-term studies, all while the riskier, more invasive procedures continued to be the standard of care, performed daily in their own operating rooms. Every denial was another lock on the door, another message that her credentials, her patent, and her genius were not enough to overcome their prejudice. Who then was truly benefiting from keeping this life-changing technology from the public? And how many thousands of patients needlessly lost their sight while a cure sat on a shelf, barred from use by institutional bias? That haunting question of who benefits from a system that prioritizes hierarchy over healing is one Dr. Bath refused to let paralyze her. If the American medical establishment would not see the light, she would take her light to the world. Frustrated and exhausted by the years of systemic obstruction, she made another bold move. She packed her schematics, her prototype, and her unwavering conviction, and she went to Europe. There, at institutions like the Laser Medical Center in Berlin, she found what had been so profoundly lacking at home: a spirit of genuine scientific curiosity and international collaboration. An environment where the merit of an idea was more important than the race or gender of its creator. The reception was transformative. Colleagues listened with respect, offered constructive feedback, and, most importantly, opened their laboratories and operating rooms to her. The contrast was stark and revealing. In Los Angeles, she was treated as a pariah with a dangerous fantasy. In Berlin, she was welcomed as a visionary colleague. It was in this collaborative European environment that the Laserphaco Probe was finally refined, tested, and implemented. The early clinical trials were a stunning success. Dr. Bath herself performed the first procedures, demonstrating the technique she had spent nearly a decade perfecting. We can only imagine the tension in that operating room, the quiet hum of the equipment, the focused intensity of the surgical team, and the immense weight of hope resting on Dr. Bath's steady hands. The results were immediate and miraculous. Patients who had been legally blind, their worlds reduced to a milky, indistinct blur, were having their sight restored in a procedure that took mere minutes. The day after surgery, bandages would be removed, and for the first time in years, they could see the faces of their loved ones, the colors of the world around them, with breathtaking clarity. The success of these trials sent ripples through the international ophthalmology community. The impossible pipe dream, scoffed at in Los Angeles, was now a proven revolutionary reality. This personal and professional vindication was not the end game for Dr. Bath. It was the beginning of her true mission. In 1976, she had co-founded the American Institute for the Prevention of Blindness, an organization predicated on the powerful principle that eyesight is a basic human right. Now, with a proven technology in hand, she could turn that principle into global action. Her device, capable of painlessly dissolving cataracts with a laser, and the technique she pioneered, began to spread. She led humanitarian missions, traveling to developing nations where cataract-related blindness was a rampant epidemic, consigning millions to a life of darkness and dependency. The impact was profound. UNESCO reports from the early 2000s analyzing global health trends directly attribute significant reductions in the backlog of cataract-related blindness to the widespread adoption of minimally invasive, laser-assisted surgical techniques, a field that Dr. Bath single-handedly created. She personally restored sight to people who had been blind for over 30 years. Her invention wasn't just a piece of medical technology. It was an instrument of justice, a tool that dismantled a fundamental inequity in global health. The story of Dr. Patricia Bath forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. The question is no longer just about the credit stolen from one brilliant woman. It is about the immeasurable human cost of delaying a vital medical breakthrough due to entrenched racial and gender biases. How many millions of years of sight were collectively lost in the decade her invention was suppressed? How many lives were diminished? Her legacy is a powerful indictment of the systems that claim to foster innovation while actively silencing their most brilliant minds. Today, the principles of her Laserphaco Probe are the foundation of modern cataract surgery worldwide, a procedure performed over 10 million times a year. The institutions that once locked her out now teach her methods as the standard of care. But the fundamental question her story poses still echoes with unsettling urgency. How many more brilliant minds are we still silencing today? And what future are we sacrificing by our collective amnesia?